Let's start with the story, shall we? Picture a place once called Evergreen Village, where towering trees whispered with the wind, rivers sang their way across the land, and life thrived in harmony. It was a place where nature itself seemed to be at peace, supporting the villagers with clean air, fertile soil, and a bounty of fresh water. But then something happened, something deeply sobering.
That something was greed, plain and simple. A timber factory was set up by a wealthy merchant, and soon everyone wanted in on the timber boom. What started with villagers selling their own trees quickly escalated into wholesale deforestation. They even raided the communal forests. And, well, the fallout wasn't just environmental, it was personal, devastating even.
Absolutely. Once that balance was destroyed, the community faced disastrous consequences: severe drought, rivers drying up, animals disappearing from their habitat. Even the air became toxic from factory fumes. The once lush and life giving village was reduced to a shell of itself. People fell ill. Livelihoods collapsed. The beauty and bounty of the land turned to ash before their eyes.
It hits close to home for me. The river near where I grew up, one that we swam in as kids, that river is gone now, completely dried up. And you know what? It wasn't just about the water disappearing, it was about memories, community, even identity. That river supported life in ways we never fully appreciated until it was gone. What's left is this haunting emptiness.
Sanya, your story is heartbreaking, and it connects so deeply to what we see happening across Kenya today. Deforestation, water scarcity, and erratic climate changes plague the country. In fact, the State of the Environment reports from the National Environment Management Authority paint a stark picture of interconnected crises spiraling out of control. The forests, rivers, even soil, each thread of the ecosystem is connected, and when one weakens, everything begins to unravel.
Exactly. And it's not just about Kenya. Look around. This pattern of destruction is global. But here's the thing, it's not some distant, untouchable problem. It's our choices every day that shape this. The plastic bottles tossed out, the unchecked clearing of forests for agriculture. It all adds up. But here's the kicker, when nature suffers, we suffer right alongside it.
That's the truth, isn't it? The earth, our common home, is crying out for restoration. And maybe, just maybe, in understanding stories like Evergreen Village or your childhood river, we can begin to rediscover the songs of nature. But it takes more than understanding. Action, stewardship, and courage are needed. Hearing your story about losing that river, Sanya, its memories, its lifeline, it's such a powerful reminder of what's truly at stake. It's not just about water, trees, or resources vanishing. It's about losing connections, identities, and moments that make us whole. And that's where stewardship comes in, not as some distant obligation, but as a deeply personal and spiritual calling. Pope Francis in Laudato Si said it so beautifully, urging us to act not as indifferent landlords, but as loving caretakers of the gift we've been entrusted with.
Yeah, and Pope Francis doesn't mince words either. I remember reading how he linked environmental degradation to things like poverty and injustice. It's like every time we neglect nature, we are also neglecting people, especially the vulnerable. And this isn't just theory. Look at how droughts in Kenya hit farmers the hardest. Those same farmers, Helena, are feeding the rest of us.
That's true, the interconnection is undeniable. It reminds me of a Bible study I attended recently. We reflected on Genesis, the creation story. God gives us earth abundant, full of promise, but He also asks us to care for it, to till it, and keep it. That's not about dominion as in domination, it's a call to nurture, to sustain. And those villagers in Evergreen, when they saw the devastation, didn't they rediscover that same calling?
They did. And it wasn't just idle hope. They acted. They stopped supplying the timber. They worked together to educate each other, to rebuild the forest, to clean up the land. That's the kind of response we need everywhere. You know, real grassroots efforts. It's tough. No lie about that. But it's possible. And honestly, Helena, those villages are proof.
And proof like that inspires faith. It shows how healing is possible for both earth and soul. Our choices, imperfect as they are, they matter deeply. When I think about Pope Francis saying everything is connected, I think it has this resonance, not just ecological, but spiritual. It's our relationships with each other, with creation, woven together into something sacred.
Sacred, yes, but also urgent. That interconnectedness, it means every act, whether planting a tree or protecting a freshwater source, it's got ripples. It's like a domino effect. That's why waiting isn't an option. We've got to act now, build awareness before it's too late. Like Pope Francis says, the earth is crying out. And Helena, I think it's crying specifically to us.
And that cry is something we must answer not just with words but with lives transformed. It's a divine call that we all share. Imagine the healing, the restoration, if each of us embraced that call together. It's clear, Sanya, that responding to the earth's cry means more than intention, it requires action. Take Evergreen Village, for example. Even when they were pushed to the edge, they found hope by coming together. Their courage and collaboration didn't just restore their ecosystem, it redefined their future. And all of it began with the community embracing their shared responsibility.
Exactly. That Mazingira Poa program, it's like the blueprint for what we should be doing all over. They didn't just wait for someone else to fix their mistake. They organized, they educated, they planted trees and cleaned their rivers. It's it's a reminder that real change starts small, but it can ripple out to something huge.
And that's the critical part, those small, deliberate steps. I think about how tree planting, for instance, isn't just about trees. It's oxygen, shade, erosion control, a home for birds and for countless creatures. It's a reminder that even the simplest actions, like planting one seed, hold profound significance.
Right. And for anyone listening, it's not rocket science. You don't need to start the next big movement. Just join a local tree planting drive or, set up rainwater harvesting systems in your neighborhood. Little changes snowball into big impacts. Plus, how fulfilling is it to actually see those results over time?
It's deeply fulfilling, and it teaches us this beautiful sense of stewardship that we're not just inhabitants of this planet, we're its caretakers. It reminds me of something Pope Francis mentions in Laudato Si about living in harmony with creation rather than seeing it solely as something to be exploited.
That's a game changer. And honestly, I think we should ask ourselves, what am I doing right now that contributes to restoration? Is it focusing on reducing waste, teaming up with an NGO to clean up waterways, or even just being smart about what I consume and throw away? Every little decision counts.
And it all starts with that choice to care, doesn't it? There's something profoundly spiritual in being part of creation's healing, standing in awe of it like a sunrise over the Rift Valley or the rich reds of the Tsavo sands. Those moments remind us that we're woven into something much larger than ourselves.
Uh, Amen to that. I mean, Kenya's landscapes, they blow my mind every time. From the forests to the savannas, it's it's fragile, sure, but it's resilience in motion. And seeing all this beauty makes me think, if nature fights so hard to recover, shouldn't we fight just as hard to protect it?
We absolutely should. And as we reflect on creation's resilience, I think it invites us to ask deeper questions about our faith too. How does faith call us to act? Maybe it's in embracing that every tree planted or waste reduced contributes to something sacred. It's all connected. Our choices reflect not just what we value, but who we are.
And who we are? We're stewards, not owners. So here's to everyone listening. Grab that shovel, join that campaign, make that small change today. Together, we can keep our common home thriving. Helena, the stakes are high, yeah, but isn't the potential for renewal just breathtaking?
It's breathtaking indeed, Sanya. And with that hope in our hearts, let's commit, you and I, to honoring this divine call to love, to act, to restore. And on that note, thank you for journeying with us. Let's keep building that better, greener tomorrow together.